welcome to the NACL update. First off, a reminder that you can grab tickets for the NACL finals, which will be live at the Riot Games Arena on August 9th. So make sure to grab one for you and maybe that special someone. By the end of this week, we will be down to 2 teams in Challengers League, and they will be competing live in the Riot Games Arena. Now, to commemorate that, we've compiled some of our team's greatest hits so far.
Now that's what I call LCS Challengers. 6 of the greatest names to hit playoffs this summer, including smash hits like Take This Team Down the Lower Road, King will guide till he can no more. Unforgettable summer bangers like Team Liquid Challengers.
Coming in first place. I seen it was a waste. Lower bracket run. Ooh, ooh. Team Liquid get it done. Ooh, ooh.
And don't forget,
DSG, you're the thing of me. Have you heard us talk about Patreon?
the hottest season of NACL ever. Don't miss it. Order now and get That's What I Call LCS today.
All of our playoffs are being played on patch 13.14, and early on in the patch, we have noticed a few picks that are stronger than others, including one tree that you certainly don't want to hug.
And remember, kids, only you can prevent forest fires. Wait, Maokai, what are you doing here? Ah! Oh my god, Maokai is 100% win rate in playoffs with 10 bans and 5 picks. He's on a rampage. Somebody stop him! Never mind what I said before. Get some fire, grab your axes. We gotta chop down some trees. Ah!
The pressure is on for the lower bracket teams, so to check in with them, we have on-site correspondent Mazel to see how high the stakes actually are. Mazel, can you read me?
Well, Cubby, I can tell you the stakes are higher than ever.
Can you give me an estimate of how high the stakes are right now?
Well, lower bracket teams only have 1 life left, so yay high?
Any indication for how high the stakes might get?
Well, there's no end in sight.
Well, keep me posted. Until then, guys, that's been it for this episode of the NA Talent Update. Thanks to all my friends who helped out. And until next week, may your week be filled with positive gaming experiences.
Well, the joys of being a host and not a caster is I cannot cast or curse anything, and at this point, Fear up 2-0 in the series. I mean, Darkwings are looking pretty good out there.
Yeah, looks like our predictions are going according to plan.
Except for yours, you did say it was going to be 3-1, so this would have to be next up where Fear take that loss if yours go according to plan.
That's true. I think DSG got they can bounce back. They'll win 1 game, but that's okay. They'll lose on the 4th game.
That is so unassuring. Don't worry, they'll lose up next, but it gotta be beginning. You were quite DSG skewed in your own predictions, and that first game was 50 minutes, but Fear actually, the second game, I mean, this was a lot more Fear heavy.
Yeah, they took the silver way to guarantee they win scaling as this game goes on. They had a nice teamfight execute between the Zig Seraphine and the Nautilus, and I love that, we talked about the importance of both the Sejuani and the Maokai for DSG as a team. They've denied the Maokai every single time, giving away that first pick Sejuani that we kind of figured / guessed that DSG was going to go, and then answered it with Ziggs comps. Because with Sejuani comps, you want to try and go in. You don't want to do that against Ziggs comps, as Ziggs has just been so efficient and effective in these 2 games in the hands of Manui and Shochi respectively. And I gotta credit here for that answer. You can guess that DSG is going to take Maokai or Sejuani early on in these drafts by taking away one. They have had good answers in the other, and it's gotten them, I feel like, has been a big part of the reason why they are up 2-0 in this series.
100%. And as DSG sits and reconsiders their game plan going on forward, so they have a chance here in our upper finals. Of course, we have a Rally Cry halftime show to get on with. So, Cubby, you had to sit on the side yesterday as we did some Mad Libs, and I know that you were quite upset about that. So, for our halftime show today, we're going to run it back.
I broke a few pens over it, that's all I'll say. So I'm excited to get writing for this one.
All right, Darkwings, I'm so glad that you'll be joining us for our Mad Libs. So how this is going to be going down is I have written up a little story about each of the teams based on how the series is kind of going. and y'all are not going to get to see the story. I'm going to ask you guys for like an adjective, place, thing, verbs, etc. All the good stuff that I didn't really learn well in English class. Mad Libs did teach me everything out there, but I'm going to fill in the stories afterwards. I'm going to have each of you read out the story that we all created together, okay? Good?
Sounds good. Yeah.
All right. So first, we're going to do the story of DSG, as Fear are the, I would say, defending champions so far in this series. So first off, and y'all can come up to this together. You can take turns, however you want to do it. We're all civil over here. I'm going to need an adjective.
Ooh. Darklings, you go first. You're the guest.
Yes, first. That's very nice.
Fearful. Is that an adjective?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Yeah, they were
Perfect.
fearful. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. Now an object.
I bet you didn't expect your, grammar to be tested when you got up here.
Yeah. You go.
Object, go with a house.
All right, another adjective here.
Ooh.
Another adjective?
Yeah.
Hmm.
You guys are going to get really familiar with adjectives by the end of this because there ends up being a bit. I did try to shake it up, but if there is a bit.
Boomed?
Boomed?
Yeah, something
right.
boomed, I feel
Okay,
that.
okay.
Then 2 games of Ziggs. Maybe we got good guess right on that one, Darklings, hopefully.
Okay, yeah.
All right.
You got the next one, though.
Yeah, it's going to be another adjective. I promise we're going to do a couple non-adjectives after this one.
Let's go with, strong-willed.
All right.
Strong build.
Getting some good adjectives out here. All right, another object.
Scythe.
Or what?
A scythe. Like a Grim Reaper scythe,
I didn't
That's
think
what
that
it
my
holds.
spelling was going to be called into or this. I think this is right. We'll see. We'll see. We'll find out soon. All right, a verb ending with ed. So like, boomed, talked, walked.
Demolished. There we go.
Let's go.
Ooh. All right, a player on disguised.
Zazel.
It's so funny. I was so confident that's who you're gonna pick. All right, an action verb. So action verb like run, walk, like something that's actually you're doing something.
Slipped.
All right, all right. Another verb, but ending in an ing. Be any type of verb.
Running.
All right, another adjective. We're going back to those. We're doing good so
Adjective.
far, guys.
Hmm.
You got one, Darkwings? You want me to?
Actually,
Everybody's
yeah,
just been
go
killing
ahead.
it with the
Go ahead.
adjectives.
I'll get next one.
Next one, okay.
Charmed.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Rakan Seraphine in this
Great.
game.
Now a reason. Just a short little reason. My cat ate my homework. Whatever. Type thing.
Okay. Their dog chewed up their shoes.
Oh, has that happened to you in the past, Darkwings?
No.
No? Okay.
Have you ever lost a game because your dog just chewed up your shoes mid-game? That's tragic. All right, verb with like an es ending. Runs, walks.
A verb?
Yeah. You just pick one. I'll conjugate it for you.
Would 8 work? Because technically that's a past tense verb. No, it's not
Yeah.
ed. Okay.
All right, and
See,
now
Grant-
last one of this story. Another adjective.
Let's just go smelly.
Yes. I like that.
Context for the chat: when I was explaining how this segment was going to work, smelly was the adjective I used. Figured it would come up some point. All right.
I mean, you did say Fear 3-0, so I think we should have copied your homework a lot earlier, actually.
True. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go. Who wants to read out the first puzzle first off?
Me or you, Darkwings? You want the first or the second?
You can read the first one.
All right, I got
All right.
the first one. You get the second.
Cubby,
All right.
Cubby's got the first
Do this
one.
one.
Nope.
I apologize and be looking at my other monitor.
All right. Here we go. We got this. Story mode. Let's hear it.
Disguised is one of the most fearful teams in our league, and they prove it every series. Their house is the boomed of all the teams, and their strong-willed champ pool is unmatched. Fear need to watch out or else their scythe will be demolished. Okay, that makes sense. The secret to the success, Zazel. Whenever they slip, the other team is running in fear. Losing game 1 and 2 were just part of the charmed script. They could have easily won if their dogs shoot up their shoes. Going on to the series, as soon as Young eats, it'll all be over. And it'll be DSG on the main stage at finals to show just how smelly they truly are.
They say only true
Good.
gamers are smelly, so hey, I think it's good. I think it's good. So good job, especially on your scythe line. Now we got to do one for Fear. We do got to speed run this because we got a game to get back to
All right,
for
sure.
Fear 3-0. The first thing we're gonna ask from you guys, we're going for it. We got a place. Need a place.
Place?
Cleveland.
All right. All right. A person or thing.
Who wants to go to Cleveland anyway?
Shochi. Or is that actually, or should it be something else?
No, you pick. What do you want, Dark Wings?
Nah, actually, I can't think.
Puppy.
All right. And then a verb.
Smashed.
Ooh, perfect. And another verb. Another verb. One more verb.
Sprinting.
All right. An excuse. Like the dog choose thing.
House was broken into.
All right. It's a verb.
Stolen. Or stole, I guess.
I'm conjugating it. I did
Okay.
okay at English. All right. An adjective here.
Alienish.
Nice. A verb. A couple more guys. We're doing this.
Abducted.
All right. I feel like you have something on your mind. All right. Now
News has been wild lately.
it is true. True. All right. A person.
Like a player or?
It could be a player. It could just be a person.
Mm,
President.
let's go with Donald Trump.
Okay, I'm gonna ask for another one just
Okay,
for the
okay.
purpose of the puzzle. We'll just say straight president, all right?
Okay, president.
Yeah, perfect. We'll compromise on that. All right, an adjective.
Tall.
Nice.
All right, verb.
Chewing.
All right, and thing.
Thing. Let's go. Like a box.
All right, perfect. We're gonna get this loaded up. And Darkwings, this is gonna be your one to shine. I want your best. You know, like that storytelling voice that you got?
Got it.
That's the one for this, all right? I believe. All right, we're loading it up. We're loading it up. Here we go.
Alright, Cincinnati Fear. A team so good they could be called Cleveland Fear. Nobody except for a puppy could take them down. That's how they smashed TLC 2-0 and how they sprinted game 1 in our upper finals. Sure, the game took 50 minutes, but that's only because House was broken into. Game 2 though, DSG didn't steal the Seraphine pick, and that alienish Seraphine proceeded to abducted the entire game. Then Perry is the next president of League of Legends. With 2 wins, they're only 1 tall win away from live finals and to chew on the main stage. Nothing like the power of friendship and boxes.
Perfect, guys. We
I wonder
did
what's in
it.
the boxes.
I don't know. So something for the puppies, I'm gonna hope for at this point. So
Hopefully with holes in them then.
True. We do have a draft to go into. Maybe that's what's in the boxes out here. Is we're gonna bring Bazelle back. Production, thanks for dealing with me. Great stories, you two. Let's see if we can get a game 4 out here. All right.
I got boxes here, but there's nothing in them. I don't know. I don't know what to do. I was supposed to have something in the boxes.
Did you open
anyways.
everything for your birthday? Was that it? I feel for whatever reason your birthday might have been recent. I don't know why.
Maybe. There might be a balloon in my background. Anyways, we're getting into a game 3, a pivotal one here between these two teams. Fear are up 2-0 and 1 step away from booking their ticket to the Riot Games Arena for our grand finals. Now, Dark Wings, we're talking a lot about experience coming into this series. The championship that 3 members on DSG had last split with Cloud9 Challengers. And we were talking even in that second game, what you got to do to try to bring it back. What is the game plan coming into this third game, and what should they be looking to attack?
I mean, I think that DSG.
That's Dark Wings.
Hold on. Ziggs ban.
Yeah.
There we go. There we go.
What do you got now? What do you got now?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, this opens up to their more like engage comp, because I think that's what DSG wants. They want to like go in and fight, right? But Fear wants to just like, you know, kite back, be chilling in the back line, and just like kind of stomp them. But now that it's just on or Seraphine and Ziggspan, I think they can do more of what they want to do.
Yeah, I would wonder if it does open up these options. I also really like the Tristana here for them, just to try to take away some of the strength we've seen in general competitive play as well. The Rakan, by the way. So we're learning a lot from the series on what we need to ban out here, it seems like, Cubby.
That's a curious one, though, to me. I think they're just trying to deny a Zaya Rakan, or maybe they want to actually play the Alistar. I'm still expecting a Sejuani early pick, but Kaisa is up through this draft and could be taken.
And
Instead, actually going to
Maokai's
be Maokai. So now Kaisa, Jace are both really good pairings with Maokai. I would actually be pretty surprised if Fear let both of them through. I feel like you can't really do that. So Darkwing, I'm kind of wondering, like, do you take both of them in this draft? Do you take a Rel, maybe, as the Renekton continues?
I think they should take the Kaisa for sure.
There we go. It was banned away as well. I like the lock in there, and it does still give you a lot of the flexibility for the team as well that Fear have just been playing towards every single draft, it feels like.
So we've only seen Young play Jace twice. I think that you can put Jace Maokai, though, into the Kaisa. We could see a mid lane counter come later, but let's see. Darkwings. Are you expecting a Sejuani here on 3 for Fear?
I don't think. I mean, they could. I wouldn't say it would be guaranteed though.
Okay. I actually like the Jax here. I kind of like it. I think Fake God had some really good moments last game, but not able to kind of pull out those game-changing moments. But it still provides so much strength against Phillips Renekton. The lane went really even, which I feel like it's not something we could say that often.
It's on a 9-game win streak now too for Phillips, and
makes it through.
Friends, as you will have Young drop ADs in priority. He does have quite a few that he can play in the mid lane. We still have to see where that Kaisa ends up going. Sejuani is an option here for Fear, but that Jax can at least play some defense around that quick permafrost passive being stacked up by Fear, which I think is important in case the Sejuani is going to come in here for parry. I'm not surprised that's still the pick. You have a lot of plays you can make on Maokai early in the game as Sejuani. So Fear, a bit of a different draft identity for them. At the moment, yeah, that Kaisa is that super scaling factor that they have, but the Sejuani and the Maokai means that it's going to be a jungle matchup where parry can actually pressure early.
I actually appreciate that as well. When we've seen the adaptation from the Poppy into the Kindred, now you get kind of some of the best of both worlds, it feels like, but also that leading foot that Perry always wants to have for Fear. I'm looking at the second phase, though, and for Fear to try to take away some of the supportal strength. They're actually going to focus on Young's melee champ pool here with the Akali coming through. I know you talked about when we were recording our episode of Bot, but is there any room for a Zed here at all?
There could be on R5. I think if they pick support on 4 here, and then DSG shows like a bit more of their comp, shows like a good matchup for Zed. The only thing would be hard is like the Maokai. But it's definitely playable in this kind of draft.
I like the Yone ban yet again. DSG do not want to necessarily face off against that one, but also the flexibility that it continues to build on for Fear. We also get the Aurelia ban towards Young, so all the focus right now for Cincinnati Fear is towards this mid lane, Cubby.
Yeah, and we have a Zerath being taken away, so really scared of what Manui's been whipping out in the bot lane, as they could have a mage taken here for Fear. I know that there is one other pick. I'm going to at least hide until it is grabbed. But I like that call that you had on taking support on 4 to preserve that Kaisa flex. So Kaisa Nautilus is a strong lane in its own right. But that Kaisa could still be put in the mid lane. So Young's going to have to somewhat blind a champion here. Whereas Braum taken, I love that pick. I feel like Braum's really strong this game. And now I'm actually expecting to see an Azir.
Okay. We did see the new art for DSG. It did have Zeyzal as Braum, so maybe, playing into that style a little bit. But I also love the combination that Zeyzal's going to have with Fake God and with Tomio. this is a pick that we saw in game number 1 actually work out pretty well for Young until it didn't.
You don't love it,
LeBlanc
Dark
is
Wings.
locked in.
Why not?
I really don't like LeBlanc when you're against like multiple tanks like Sejuani Renekton, Nautilus. It's just, you're not gonna have a really fun game playing, or a fun time to play.
And now Shochi does have that option to get counterpick or play that matchup mid, which honestly, Kai'Sa and LeBlanc's fine. Like, that's when Kai'Sa really started to emerge into the meta. It was actually a response, and now Kog'Maw is locked in. I expect this to be AP Kog.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. All right, Dark Wings. I'm getting a little chaotic here. I'm getting a little crazy going out the deep end. What does this pick do to enable Fear?
I think it just kind of functions as another mage bot. Can keep playing like to outpoke, outrange. You know, LeBlanc has to get on Shochi or Minui, but those beefy boys might be hard.
Level 16 is deadly for Kog'Maw. You bring on a wave clear early on in the game, and I gotta say, it's gonna make Ophelios' life hell. Like, once the Rywise is built on this Cog, it's gonna be really, really tough for DSG. So, any parting thoughts, Dark Wings, that you have? It seems like DSG have to win early. What are you looking out for?
Looking out for how well Fear can keep their space and stay away from like engages, which I think DSG lacks a lot of engage. So, I think Fear will win this one, honestly.
All right, you heard it from Dark Wings himself. He's feeling really confident in Fear's draft. They have been picking apart this draft from minute 1, it felt like. And DSG are the team that is their backs against the wall here to go to the lower finals, or lower bracket rather. And it is still Fear 1 game win away from claiming the first ticket to our grand finals at the Riot Games Arena, the LCS Challengers Summer Playoffs. I'm going to bid you adieu, Dark Wings. Thank you so much for your input, and see if your expectations become reality and if Fear take that 3-0 here. And as we do get into it, I think it is important to recognize the path that both these teams have taken, right? Their previous wins were upsets in their own right, Cubby, and gave us a heck of a fun lower bracket that we have so far.
I mean, the fact that, you know, we have each of these teams going toe-to-toe in the upper bracket and have, you know, FlyQuest versus EGC instead of FlyQuest versus DLC in the lower bracket, yeah, all praise go to these teams, as they played very well in order to get here. But, man, I gotta say, this game, this is do or die for Disguised, and I think my eyes really go towards Tomio Mazel, as this is ultimate comfort for him, this Maokai. It was a pick that I think was really pivotal in making sure that C9 won the spring finals, and Tomio has been so good on this for the entire split. Again, coming into today's series, was 19-3 on the Maokai and Sejuani combined, and he is 10-1 on this pick this split. And that engage that DSG was lacking, that Dark Wings is talking about, Tomio is the one person that can make the difference, can make up for that.
And we got to hear from him in the earlier games, but now we got to check back in with Shochi and a lot of the things that are going right for Fear.
All right. I mean, yeah, I feel like personally, I think I've been playing pretty well. And that was one of my main concerns, like coming into the boot camp. I felt like, you know, like the change in environment, like sleeping schedule, like different house, all that would kind of make me play worse. But I feel like once I get fully adjusted, I'll kind of unleash my true hidden powers that have been dormant inside me all this time.
They have been dormant, but they are no longer dormant anymore. The playoffs has been the Shochi show, and when we got that interview, it was before, like right when they had gotten to the boot camp. I would say the boot camp's going pretty well for them so far, Cubby.
Yeah, I do want to pause, though, and talk about the game state, as we did actually have Perry sneak in. So Tomio was setting up for a reverse clear. He did actually spot out Perry, in a sense, so Perry drops the Gromp, but he snuck in, took the blue buff. So Tomio, his clear is a bit broken now, as there was a chance he could have at least protected the Jax in the top side. Now, Tomio's reeling a little bit. It's delayed. Shochi's going to see that the Raptors are gone, so Perry going to be up a camp, has some good info, and actually wards out Tomio on the red buff too. So Perry's playing with a lot of info here and already snuck away a buff. Well done by Fear on that late invade level 1.
Something that we've prided Perry for, his unique pathing, his mind when he approaches the game. He wants to be that front foot for Fear, maybe that forward scythe for the team. It is still looking back, though, at a change in the jungle matchup that we've seen, right? Tomio has been the one focusing primarily on the Sejuani. Perry trying to pick this one up for game number 3, an all-pivotal game, but will not be down here if Tomio wants to try to get something going.
Still, it's worded out if Tomio does show. So it's going to... Zazel, that connects a decent one. JJ and Manui, yeah, they get the info. They can sneak on out, playing far enough back where Tomio's not going to go in. And they don't have the bot lane pressure quite yet to actually try and pressure one of the buffs of Perry either. So great level 1 and game planning here from Fear as they've already gotten Perry off to a good start. Tomio will try and sneak in here and take the blue buff, but it's too late. Perry has a smite up and can take this away from Tomio. That will make sure that Tomio has a smite for the crab. So Perry should drop this, just take the gromp. Tomio gets this instead. Still very well done by Fear early.
And that was something we talked a little bit in the draft, was if we wanted some early adaptation, early proactivity, it needed to come from Disguised. The composition they have wants to find some advantage for Young to be able to play around, and a lot of that mobility out of mid lane. Whereas Fear, they have so much scaling, I don't know if they need to worry about any of that. They do need to make it through the early parts of the game, but they have so much strength in the team fight composition they've drafted.
Yeah. And what I like about this comp from Fear is that, yes, they do have the scaling, but also that Renekton and Sejuani is kind of a bridge to get the real carries of Fear to that point of the game. So, really, I want to see if Fear... I'm curious if they actually play it around these early Herald fights, because I feel like they have the opportunity to do so with the Renekton Sej.
I'm wondering if Philip, finds an advantage here on the Renekton for a 3rd game in a row. That's still like, I don't know at this point. You just keep giving it over to him because the man is, again, a different animal when he becomes the crocodile. We do see Perry still trying to play with some forward aggression there, though. It will mean that Dragon is spawning on the other side of the map with both junglers on top side. See how quickly they want to adapt their pathing here. Or if Dragons seemingly fall out of priority early on, even though we've seen that in both game 1 and 2.
Yeah, so because Perry went for the invade, he's going to have no camps up here at the moment. And he is only level 4. So I think that invade from Perry, like after the Krugs, we could easily see him actually sprint down towards that dragon and try and take it. But it's a rather slow take early on with just the builds that they have from the Kog'Maw. So I think Perry could be stuck. I'm really curious to see what his next move is, because he could try and pressure the top side with Renekton. But besides that, he's going to have no camps up for a little bit. So it's dragon time.
It's looking like it. We do get that reset out from Tomio.
Phil pulled the wave. Yeah, okay, he's going to reset.
Yeah, a little bit.
Big reset.
I was just say, just get the resets out. We'll get pathing back towards bottom side, but that is where, we've talked a lot about Fear on the other side for Disguise, that journey we've seen them go through, and a lot of the strength they've leaned on from their 3 previous championship members from last split. It's been really, really interesting to see them now adapt into a best of 5, Cubby.
I mean, it feels like Fear just have too many answers, though, so far. Like, have they really adapted? Like, I feel like these are comps that DSG has kind of played all split, and Fear is just the ones dictating the picks that they have, and really dictating the pace of these games. So I think for me, my eyes still go towards Tomio. This is a pick that he is 10-1 on this split. His Maokai is very good. He can dictate the pace of this game, something that DSG has somewhat struggled to do, despite, I would say, a good series from Zazel, who is the one that really picks fights for his team. But it hasn't been enough to get DSG anything more than a small early game gold lead that they have lost in the mid game thanks to the team fighting from Fear. So if DSG truly wants to adapt and actually play another game in this series, they're going to have to find a solution to that. Pick ban's gone differently, so they have answers there, but it's going to be different enough in the gameplay of DSG to make sure that they can get to that game 4.
Gotta have the execution. They have all the coaching power behind them. We even found out that Acadian has been helping them as well. So you have the trio coaching power of Zazel, Golden Blue, and Acadian. They've got to find promise here in game number 3 if they want to continue having that coaching strength in this upper bracket final. You have Philip pressuring heavily with a 20 CS lead on to Fake God. He's going to pop the dominance. The Counter-Strike does go through. Philip might be looking for a little bit more. He's got that rage bar built up. No help there. He will end up backing off, but the waves just keep crashing onto Fake God.
That is nice. That is an ult out of Renekton before the Herald. Fear, they didn't take the Dragon. I like that call from them. Kog'Maw does no damage to the Dragon early on, so it'd be a really slow take. Perry wants to keep up his tempo, and he has a lot of camps up, so he's actually going to leech off mid to help Soshi get this wave in. this will make sure that Shochi gets a free base before the Rift Herald. So that tells me going to be Raptors red, and then all eyes on the Rift Herald for Cincinnati Fear.
See if there does end up being that trade. This is, again, our first game where Dragon priority has kind of fallen out the wayside. Both teams not feeling super confident with the way they're built up and the early advantages bot side, too. But, yeah, as you say.
I really like this from Fear. Like, they got both of their solo lanes to base at a good timer for the Rift Herald. It looks like DSG, they're going to TP Fake God to match the TP of Philip. And Disguise, they can tickle this Herald, but they're ultimately, if they do tickle it, it's going to be for a reset. As I expect Philip to be able to walk down and actually pressure this pair. He's going to try and take another camp. They're going to drop Manui. This is just going to go uncontested. I think Fear dropped this. Wow, I'm a little bit surprised about that. I think it's that Philip doesn't have an ultimate. That might have been enough.
The
Rift
Herald bot might not be enough without an ulti, but Perry is here, and they are looking to fight. They have movement out of mid lane as well. Philip is there, and Perry gets the Rift Herald. How does it always come up big for this man? JJ going to go in over on the side there to Young, who does have to end up popping away. Glacial Prison goes down. Who's going to go first blood? Fake God claims it for Disguise, but it goes right back to Philip.
Perry nearly got out of there, but it's still a big win for Fear. They were able to yoink the Rift Herald away as Philip, he dives on in right when the Maokai ult. So when he eats that root, Perry actually does not. He gets the smite down. It's picked up by Fear. Perry's focused down by the Braum passive and by Fake God, but honestly, that's really big that Fear were actually able to take that Herald. They invested so little time into this, and it's still a 1-for-1 trade where each top laner got a kill. Yeah, it's going to be well worth it over to Fear. Philip, he actually has that Rift Herald too. He could end that laning phase if he decides to drop it moving forward, as we just need a couple love taps on the turret and Shelly to take that one for himself. Because he has CS gap in the top lane, Philip has a really big lead.
That is not ever something you want to see if you give the Renekton over to Philip. But not only that, it gets worse. You get the Rift Herald for Fear. You also get the first dragon, an Ocean Dragon to boot. So now with Philip in that Rift Herald position in topside, a 2-plate turret up there, that's got to be looking like first brick for Fear.
Gore Drinker on Philip as well, so he has complete control over these waves, complete control over this matchup. And DSG behind early. That Kog'Maw, Kai'Sa, I think 3 items is really the magic point for Kai'Sa, whereas this Kog'Maw, Ryle-wise, is like your first jolt of power, because it's a lot easier than to chain the ultimates on this Kog'Maw. So we have seen this pick played by Masu, funnily enough, earlier in this tournament. But the true power that you get from Kog'Maw is actually that level 16, because you do get bonus range every single time you put a point into that ultimate. So that's like the Omega late game insurance, as we have the ARAM builds for both Kai'Sa and Kog'Maw coming out this game.
Is it the ARAM builds? Is that what it's on? Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
I like it. I can
AP Cog slept on, man. I was on this this back like in season 2 when Froggen was playing it. Where it's at.
Oh, we actually see Perry finding a little bit of aggression on the bot side of the map, though. They are actually looking to dive this one. You've got Tomio right around the corner, so it should mean that Fear back off. Oh,
you're gonna look for a play. Perry's in trouble.
I don't think Perry has any way out of this one.
in.
It is also Disguise TPing Young in to kind of cut off the rest of Fear. Finally, with the flash, Meech gets the kill on Tomio, or at least on Perry, rather. And Tomio should get the kill. Oh, he gives it to Young. Nicely done. As the turret juggling goes through, JJ still makes it out alive. Disguise committed so much to the bot side, but they do find something.
That's what they have to do. You're going up against Poke. When you pick the points that you are going to utilize tools to close the gap to go in, you have to make it worth it. And props, as that was well done. Also, I believe the Herald was actually dropped mid by Philip, as we just saw it go down with Shochi. Shochi based and TP'd back to get a Shiv. It actually picked up that wave too, so
oh my god.
Turrets in the solo lanes very low for Disguise. A bit of that consequence from that play, that TP bot from Young, but overall, I feel like those are the types of plays that DSG need to make. Whenever they throw out that Nature's Wrath, needs to make sure that it's getting a lot.
I love the follow-up, too. The fact that Zeyzal preemptively goes, that is the decisive factor here. The fact that Zeyzal says, no, we are going, and then Young follows with that beautiful TP. Yes, Meech gets the kill on the back end of it. He had the flash for that one, but the fact that the chain connects on the end here and they can follow it up is a big testament to what Disguise can bring to the table. But we're looking right back at Fear, who... even with all those shenanigans going on in the bot lane, they get first brick, they get all the plates in mid lane, they're looking at all the plates in top side of the map, and the gold is leaning their way.
It's going to be really tough for DSG. The fact, though, that like Comio already has this demonic embrace, the saps are going to not only give a lot of info, but then do a little bit of damage over that will be against
Camp
Fear,
back
have
here.
to deal with. Huh? No,
As that fake got camped back, he's got to try to defend the turret. He was about to try to finish that one.
it's okay. He's got the empowered TP, so he can base and try and defend it whenever he wants, but it doesn't mean it's easy by any means.
It is not. Just trying to clean up as many wave minions as he can, but Philip trying to take down that last plate. Still has about 30 seconds for that one. That TP return should be there to defend it in time for Fake God. But now we're looking at the other side of the map. Got about 1 minute and 15 seconds for a second dragon. And while we didn't take a lot of priority there, Philip, okay, no TP.
Fine.
Maybe looking at the play later on as well, and especially with the Rift Herald coming up too.
It's honestly fine. Philip's going to be so big, though, for this upcoming Dragon fight. And this is what I really liked about that Fear composition. We talked about it earlier, Mazel. They can lean on the Renekton and on this Sejuani, the early power that they bring in the top side, to then get the Kai'Sa and the Kog'Maw to the later stage of the game. And Renekton says, yeah, they get outscaled, but there's still going to be a really big front line that brings a lot of CC that can protect Kai'Sa and Kog'Maw later on. So I feel like the power curve for Fear, they were able to kind of balance it out with their carries and then the top side, where they actually are able to make plays at a lot of stages in the game. So I really like that game plan from them. And Disguise, again, have to find ways to deal with this and close the gap, which is very difficult early when you have a Renekton that is this really far ahead and this strong early on in the game.
It gives you so much strength, not only in the team fights, but also in the side lane pressure. And yes, Fake God will eventually get to that point, but it is nowhere near soon. As Fear will take this Rift Herald as well. It should be a second one for them.
Philip has TP, Young does not. So really, DSG opted to not take this fight, but this is being taken as that Dragon spawns. And Mountain Dragon would not be too bad here for Disguise. They were able to trade it out.
And just any stacking they can get themselves, right? I think there's a reason why Meech hasn't been given this Aphelios all series long itself. I think he is a big force to be reckoned with in this game. Young, we saw in game number 1 of LeBlanc, he's going to have a tough time in this one, but I think Meech is the big spotlight for me for Disguised if they want to get into this series.
That's a good call out. Meech's Aphelios, it's 9-2 this split.
Yep.
And I think that the key for Fear is that they can never fight that Aphelios on even footing. They need to poke it out before they actually do take the fight. So keep your eyes out from HD is able to dodge out on that poke to protect his team as we go later on into the game. At the moment, that top inner turret not protected at all, as while that dragon was taken, they took the Red Herald, threw it down immediately, and an inner turret being taken by Fear makes this a 3k gold lead in their favor.
I just can't believe they just keep getting away with this. They've literally taken down all the outer towers and even a tier 2 in the top side, all the gold, and all of a sudden we're Disguised. We're neck and neck with Fear. We're 16 minutes in and a 3k lead.
Fear playing the map really well. It's very clear that they have an identity, and that is around Manui playing these mages bot. And I chuckle just because it's really so good, and Manui's shown that he's proficient on enough of these picks that you can't really ban him out. Like, yeah, you took away the Ziggs, but if I look at this game pace, it feels like they still have Ziggs on their team, right? With all the towers that are down with the 3k gold lead. It's like, all right, yeah, we used some Satch charge to get some early plays for us. It's kind of how things go. And guess what? The Kog'Maw, for me, it scales even harder this game. If you get that Rywise, again, the ability to chain those R's together. Manui's about to be level 11, unlock some more range. It's really important for him in this one, too. Hog's deadly later on in the game, so a really, really good start again for Fear.
I also just love it because Manui, we were talking about him earlier, a little bit chaotic good because, you know, he is a bit chaotic in the team comms, but he is just good, right? Every time you talk to him, he has a good mind state. He's very fun. He's joyful. But it's also a guy that has not been in the biggest of eyes until it feels like this split, until his time on Fear, and until he's really come alive with the combo of JJ this split.
For me, like, I thought Manui improved so much in spring. I remember November, I got to actually sit in as a coach for a couple tryouts. I got access to them, and we're going to pause. They're actually all JJ's dead.
Ooh, I think JJ's just gone here. It's a bit of an overextend from Fear. He gets the
shield.
shield! Oh my god, the W timing is clutch. As you can go back to your point now.
Barely escapes the Maokai ult too. But yeah, so I got access to some scouting combines, one as a coach, and I remember back in November, Manui was kind of getting crushed in all those tryouts. And I thought lowly of Fear in spring, mostly because I didn't think Manui would be able to hang with a lot of the ADs in the league. He improved so much with Trevor, and I think this split, he kind of like had to, you know, relearn how to play with JJ and also just get used to that. But it feels like for me, Manui, this is what really the best of what we saw from him in spring was that he could play mages, but also, you know, we really respected his Aphelios play, thought that he was confident enough on those champs to get through that top 4 finish. But now Manui leading on that champion pool, yeah, he's become a force to reckon with again in drafts and also in games. He can play so many of these picks, you really cannot ban him out. This style has just been so damn good for Fear. It's really tough to move. So it's been a nice growth arc for Manui this year for sure.
All the way from wildcard developmental in 2021 to now a mainstay on Fear Cincinnati. We do want to see, though, Manui continue to stack up. It is a style composition where we were saying they have a lot of strength. They have that bridge with Perry and Phillip. And speaking of bridge, maybe you add JJ to the architecture of that one, as now they're looking at another tier 2. It will be responded with an outer tower and top side.
And this is just good macro from Fear. You will always trade an outer for an inner. Those are worth way more gold, and it is all put on the shoulders of Shochi, who, when I talked to him before that match for TLC, said, I am the best mid laner in Challengers League, and my team sets me up to 1v9. The last couple games, Shochi's been a little bit of a role player, kind of playing around his team, and I think a lot of it has been dictated, you know, by the Ziggs game 1 from Manui, and then the Seraphine game 2 from Manui. Shochi was just kind of throwing in the damage on top of that, but this game on the Kaisa, this was a pick that people were like, you cannot give Shochi this one. He's so good on the marksman. His Tristana's really good. His Kaisa was deadly during the split. We got to see it in that TLC series as well in game 2, and he has been set up for success by his team in this one.
He really has been. I think he's been very vocal in a lot of successes, right? He was calling his own arc the Naruto arc here, just finding any anime that fits him as a protagonist. But he truly is coming alive. Speaking of coming alive, though, Disguise need to find some life left in this series. Yes, they're not that far down. They have a dragon to their name, but there is a Baron up, but also another dragon coming in about 23 seconds.
It's so tough for them to take this dragon. As Manui actually, if he finishes this phase, you're rather curious. Because at this point, Kai'Sa's one item away from being just deadly in this game. As I expect to see the Ludens coming out from Shochi, just given the identity of the comp from Fear. And then Manui, looks like he is going to try and complete that Seras first for the extra safety. But if you have control over either river, it's so tough for these guys to play from behind and actually phase check that. They have to rely on Young and Fake God in these side lanes to actually push things out and use that to try and collapse onto Fear. So with Fear getting that bot lane in deep, no way the DSG would have been able to pressure this dragon, so they just have to see it away for free.
And we see the vision here from Disguise. They do not have any control over that side of the map. And a second dragon, a Cloud Dragon, goes to Fear. They'll maintain about that 2.7 to 3k lead they've had. But the fact of the matter is they're coming back onto the map, and this is where some of their strength comes to align, is when they have all pieces together and a lot of that poke that comes through from Manui and Shochi.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what Manui's building, if I'm going to be honest. Blasting Wand's just like, please give me more AP. It doesn't necessarily funnel into that Seraph's quite anymore. But yeah, you can see the mana crystal for Shochi. Once again, once he hits that Ludens, that's really where the Kaisa hits hard Mazel. So it feels like DSG almost on a timer early on is Young. He's going to show here against Perry. He's hugging the wall, but now is spotted Perry to get a W out of Young. Does have that ultimate if he wants to run away, but just really helping Shochi get this wave in. As talked about, if they can get this wave in deep, then they can actually play around the Baron, because then there's no way that DSG can find flanks against them. They really like the macro here from Fear again, understanding their poke cop well. Whatever side of the map you want to play on, get that wave in deep as a team, and then go play in the river. Because then you can take away the TP wards behind them as DSG, the way to trap. JJ?
You do need to be a little bit careful here on the re-engage, but a very stout DSG front line here ready to go. You have a lot of that poke that will end up being in Fear's favor, and it's Meech just going to need to start getting some down with the Calibrum. Young on the side, though, getting chased down by Shochi. Immediately flashes, realizing what was coming next.
Wow, that's a very respectable flash from Young. Paying a lot of, I would say, respect and fear towards Cincinnati here and what they can do on him in the side lane, as Zazel is going to get chunked out just a little bit. They're actually burn Q. They can turn this on the parry now.
This might actually find Philip on the flank here this entire time. Killer instinct across the board too, but it's DSG resetting the fight and finding a little bit more promise there. It is all burned from Meech though. No summoner spells, no Moonlight Vigil.
Fear, they might pull this and try and pull DSG into them, but there's a great ward that Zazel snuck over the wall, so we'll spot them as Manui currently spotted. TP comes in, DSG.
I think DSG have to be really careful though. This is where the
Slow
poke
take.
is starting to come alive. Look at Manui. He's literally just waiting over there with the spittle. You got Perry tanking up the Baron. Engage from JJ. Might not be what they wanted, but the death charge hits and they find him. Young is gone. Your poke is gone, but look at Meech. Meech has the red and he's getting it in his eyes. He gets one double kill, goes over though, and the poke from Manui. It's coming alive here as that Void Seeker goes wide. Tomio forced to run. And Manui has been the artillery pounding disguise.
And you can see this game of cat and mouse, because if you jump into DSG, the Braum Maokai is so strong paired up with Aphelios. But if you never jump in, it's just poke raining down from the skies, man. Pogba comes in, you got Void Seekers to deal with. It's way too much as Young, that TP was too deep. Immediately gets depth charge, splashed on by Philip. JJ tries to push the pace on the Meech. They didn't have enough to get onto the Aphelios. But Zazel, he burned the Leandries. And as long as, you know, it's a front to back here, look at Manui. He just gets to walk up, has a big croc in front of him. He can't walk past that. The Kog'Maw does way too much damage. So Fear, again, able to draw DSG into them, able to land their poke. No, it's no big objective taken, no monster objective, but still, you see how difficult it is for DSG to play this? They cannot find those angles, cannot, you know, find the massive flanks and try and attack the double artillery backline that Fear is showing.
See the damage done, but you see all of the dominoes falling the way of Fear. Every time they take a fight, it just feels like everything's leaning their way, and it's the Skies who are still struggling to find a way back into it. I think you look at some of the item spikes, some of the strengths we talked a little bit about for Disguised. It's starting to come online for Meech. You're looking for that third item and a Lord Doms to boot.
And Meech, it feels almost as if, like, if you jump in to DSG and it's too early, again, it's Aphelios Braum. You can proc the passives so quickly with the Winner's Bite. Maokai provides so much safety as well. That's where Fear have to be careful, but if they just never jump in, look at what the Kog'Maw can do. And just forcing Zazel out. Even, you know, he has the shield to try and prevent some of the poke coming in from the Void Seekers, but you can't do that against Kog'Maw's R, so, man, the creativity from Fear really paying off here. And DSG, they can't get on the map.
They just can't. I think we were talking so much about the leadership, the expectations for this team. And yes, this is an upper bracket final. They have a second life. This is not the showing you want to have when you only have one best of 5 left if you get knocked out here. This is something that Fear have been building towards. Their power of friendship, the work they put in this boot camp, it is showing alive and well. And they've been so confident about that fact since they came into the playoffs.
Fear that Dragon's up, but they don't care about that Cloud Dragon. I will say a Cloud Soul is very, very powerful when you are running a poke comp. But they will start up this Baron. Really going to try and keep them at bay. Does have that blue buff. He did turn that Blasting Wand into a full Rywise, as he is still sitting on the knee of the tier, so that slows will help him connect with the multiple Rs. Baron is down to half a Zell, and DSG, you got to walk in here to find it. Zazel. They still don't know the HP. They don't know the HP of it.
This is really rough. Fake Out tries to go in as well. There's the Nature's Grasp across. They are getting a bit desperate. Philip tanking up a storm, but Perry's already gotten the Baron as well. Manui putting in some poke, but it might be the engage for Disguise. Young is already gone though. Fake Out trying to make it happen, and it's Meech who's able to stay alive and put damage into Perry. Disguise have shown some life, and they're gonna take down Shochi too. A shutdown to Tomio.
Fake God was really big in that fight as, first off, Manui, he had to flash over the wall and then go all the way around the Baron pit to reposition. No damage came down on the Fake God as he was able to front line, continue to push forward, take another look. Great brawl ult from Zeyzal as Manui, Fake God, he forces him out. So once Manui flashes over that wall, look at him. He has to go all the way around as this fight's playing out. Fake God forces him out. Yeah. So Fake God, he forces him out. Then Manui, still, you know, can't really get in. The fight's taken. They take down Young. Then Fake God, when he commits forward, completely split. Kog'Maw's completely out of the fight. Parry goes down, goes on the Shochi. That is a fantastic fight from Fake God into double artillery. As once they got Manui's flash, Fake God was able to push forward so hard. So at least a couple Baron buffs were taken away from Cincinnati Fear.
Get the Turo Baron buff there. And we'll actually get less capes, like you were saying, on the map, but it's something that Disguise will need to reel back from. That Lord Doms is completed for me, so he has hit the 3-item spike. I think for the Aphelios and for how integral this pick has been for Meech in his past, this is the moment that you can really find those big team fights back. Ooh, Tomio caught backing there. That's really bad. We'll see, though. Actually, a little turn back. The rest of the team coming through. Will not have to burn the flash. Will not have to burn anything. TP coming in from the backside for Fake God. Fear are caught in a fight, and it's already a shutdown to Meech. Meech needed to be the one, but now he's going to be the one in the grave. Shochi finds another one. Here comes Fake God on the Jax to make a difference. You have no damage left, only Fake God, but it is Fear who back away. It is a 2-for-2 even sides.
And carries go down. I love the focus that DSG had onto Manui, but Shochi, when he picked his spot to go in, he got so much work done, was actually able to take down Young on his own, and Fake God was late to the fight. So overall, that 2-for-2, they have enough Barons alive, where JJ, that's the one that's on the board for Fear. So they can actually still, funnily enough, keep up this push.
They're still going to try to fight this one. A lot of sustain, but it doesn't matter if you get caught out. JJ burns the flash real late, and Disguise are carving away at this gold lead.
Again, you can see some of the power of Braum. If you overcommit into a Braum teams love that, as Fear pushing a little bit too hard at a couple points. They need to reset, get the flashes back on their artillery backline, because they're really fed at this point. It's now a Seraph's Embrace for Manui wrapped up. He's almost at level 16. As Manui, oh no!
That's a bit of a catch out here, Tomio. He finds him. You got killer instinct from Shochi trying to pull something back. Parry's going to finish on Tomio. This was a bit of an overextend. Shochi getting out with the invisible. The counter strikes enough. A double kill for Fake God, who seems to be like Spider-Man, changing the fate right now of Disguise. One by one, they all go down, and Meech is sitting pretty at 5-1.
Fake God is stepping up so big in this game. Tomio threw out the R, just praying that one of the flashless artillery mages would be walking up. It's completely blind. He's like, hey, I think they got to catch this midwave, man. Maybe we'll find something. Look at that. Flashless Kog'Maw. Easy pick for Tomio and Disguise. He plays that wonderfully. Shochi goes in to try and play hero mode. Dude, you just jumped into a Braum, man. You're going to get queued and auto to death by this Jax. As Fake God's like, I'll take that. Thank you very much. That's an easy one for me. Fake God is just being a hero in these fights, playing these front to backs. No one can deal with a Jax so they do not poke them down. And that's the mistake from Fear at the moment. They need to find a proper setup and take away the health bars from DSG before they find the fights. And that's where Tomio is breaking the pace of the game. Really well done, as him and Fake God have been huge in this one.
They have not been able to get their feet set since the early advantages, and they keep getting haymakered back and forth. I love that decisiveness coming out from Disguise. This is something we talked so much about for them. You not alone have strength outside a game with coaches that know and feel the same moments, right? In Golden Glue, and now the help from Acadian, but Zeyzal in the game is that positional coach, it feels like, and we see a lot of these decisions coming down to the combo of Tomio and Zeyzal, which we propped up so much.
Got them a championship in spring, looking to get them to the championship in summer, as they need to win 3 in a row, but they've done a great job of fighting back into this game. This game's been really the first part of the series where past the 20-minute mark, DSG has been able to find some wins. It's been all Fear once Baron has gotten on the map, as they've turned around a couple early game deficits into leads later on, but DSG doing a good job of fighting back and punishing Fear overextending. But this time around, here, Flash just came up on Manui. Both Kaisa and Kog'Maw have Flash available to them. Kog'Maw nearly has that level 16, which is so big for the range. I want to see them get Kog level 16 and then try and find a proper setup around the Baron. So it looks like they are sacking this dragon.
Yeah. Got 4 items there. A Maw completed for Meech, so some survivability in terms of the AP. We are still waiting on that 4th item for both Shochi and Manui. Big item spikes for them. You do have the Baron coming up in sub 25 seconds, but the Dragon on the other side could be a sole point for either side.
Manui's playing so far back. Young does have that level 16 as he just pokes his face in. Manui doing a nice job of fogging himself here. He still doesn't have access to level 16, which again is a lot more range on that Cogmaw R, so I think it's important that Manui's able to pick that one up. DSG have done a good job of taking
Shochi got caught. Shochi is getting burned down, but he does find the distance. Now this means Perry and the rest of Fear are tanking the front line. Manui's getting flashed on here, but Tomio can't find the angle. He does use the Nature's Grasp. Here comes Fake God over the edge, but can't find the distance there. And we just get blows back and forth. Lips are bloody here, Cubby.
That's good, though, for Fear. Whenever they can reset a fight on even footing, that's when they can lead on the poke again. There is no ult from the Maokai. Level 16 was secured by Manui. You can see him trying to hit Meech.
Goodness. Even Zazel taking so much from those Void Seekers. Yet Fate God waiting for the Dragon to spawn this entire time. He will be soloing that one out. Fear not going to find any response there. Not even going to try for it.
Aren't talking about the Dragon because, again, Fear, they cannot be in a position where they actually have to retake the map. They have to establish control over one side and commit to that. So no way they're going to walk into that side of the map they've lacked control of for the last couple of minutes. So Fate God able to sneak that one away for free. Fear's still low. I think they're going to reset before they actually try and attack this Baron, as it really is all about the Cog plus Kaisa. And given the double magic damage from each of them, Void Staff's going to be pretty important, which are both inbound for these champions. So I think that Fear, once again, once they find this, they can get a good setup. They need to make sure they never fight DSG on even footing.
There it is. I believe Manui's backing for his now as well. So you'll have 4 item spikes for both primary carries, where I will say Young is lagging behind on the LeBlanc. You still have that catch-out power. You still have that fluidity with it, but it's going to be a lot of damage coming out from Fear. You got to watch out, Philip, though. He will flash away. Zazel will have to use that Glacial Fissure, though.
Zazel actually tried to actually not only cut off Philip, yes, the flash. Philip delayed that, which is big.
Meech.
Yeah, you can see Meech getting roasted by this Cogmaw. He doesn't have access to a Vamp Scepter yet. He did go for the Maw first. Does have Severum, which is really nice. But look at this from Fear. This is exactly what they want to do.
Yeah,
Make sure it never is an even fight.
There's no bit of tankiness that can go. Young going on the back line, but he just gets immediately dragged out. He has the burn on him, too. He's gone. Fear with the Moonlight Vigil for Meech. He flashes forward. Shochi goes in the back line. This is chaos, but Meech is still alive. The man steps up when it matters most, and DSG fight back.
I think Meech's gun setup, usually you think, hey, we want green, right? And you're playing against a ton of range, but no, taking Severum was so big for Meech, as the red-blue combo got him so much health back in a fight where he doesn't have access to lifesteal outside of runes. Now it's a numbers advantage. Manui's in base. The Baron falls. DSG continue to fight back.
The Baron will go over, but this fight, my goodness, what a fight back. Meech deciding the time is now.
It's a front to back, and really it's Philip. If he's able to find the stun on Meech, that's where it's big. Meech flashes in. That's wild, man. But the peel against Philip, he was definitely actually able to get onto Meech. He had the stun ready. He went in the GA first, then was peeled by the Braum and the Maokai. Great space creation by both Zazel and Tomio to protect Meech. Zazel has said in these interviews, if Meech lives late game, we just auto win these fights because he's too damn good. That time around, they bought him the space and Meech cashed it in.
That's why I was so damn excited when this guy was brought on to Disguise, when Young was brought on to Disguise. These are 2 of our best mechanically minded laners and just players we have in the league. And the fact they're leaning to Meech on this all pivotal game, 1 life left in this upper bracket final, they got to rely on the man that could bring the heat.
Again, Manui and Shochi have no flash, so this is something that Young can try to punish with Disguise.
See if they can get this siege underway. That Turo Baron buff kicking well for them for another 2 minutes. Zazel tanking up the front line here as well. Shochi's coming over the side. The poke will start raining down, but you've got to be a little bit careful on the back end of it. The turret not going to go down so easily with the lack of siege potential that DSG have.
Really tough to play into the poke when you aren't able to fog into the jungle. This is actually, you know, even with Baron, DSG will take down these turrets, but it will be a slow, methodical process because over those big. Oh no, they
Meanwhile,
took a fight. Okay, JJ. That's
JJ's
big.
a little
He's
bit
dead.
slow. That's a Nature's Grasp onto 2 members as well, and JJ's just caught out. Meanwhile, Fake God's taking a 1v1 into Philip that he's actually winning in the tower here. Does take the extra tower shot there. The Baron still alive and well disguised, bringing Zazel back as well. The siege continues.
Oh, we're actually going to get panned to a ward. There is a deep ward. Philip could go to this one as I think we're getting a tease. Here we go.
All right, Fake God gets caught. Oh, Fake God with the Glacial Prison. He's going to run straight into Philip. Oh, it goes golden, buying a lot of time. Here comes Fear, though. They try to find him, and Fake God goes down. That means there's a big angry croc on the backside of your fight. You got to be a little bit more careful. Dragon is spawning in under a minute, but Fear punish.
No, the Fear need the chase. Try and prevent the resets. You got to be careful about this. Phil doesn't want to overcommit because he could go down, but there are only 40 seconds before that Dragon and his soul on the table for DSG. I actually kind of want Philip to try and chase a little bit harder there to try and mark DSG and see if they can delay the recalls. Those recalls did get out in time where this guys can full reset and try and set up for this Dragon. With the Baron still on their shoulders for a couple extra seconds, they can at least... oh, they don't have a way to push off of. So Fear, they do get mid-prio, but this is tough because Fear, they don't really have control over this bot river, and we've seen if fights are taken before the poke connects, how advantageous that actually is for DSG. And especially with Meech having a BT now, they have to try and poke out Young or someone else because Meech was healed all back up.
There's one thing you have to keep in mind is Meech is full build. You already heard the quote from Cubby earlier. If he's alive in these team fights, that is the difference maker. He can win them easy peasy. On the Aphelios for the first time of the series, too. They finally let it through, and will this be a potential kicker for Fear to focus on? You got the poke coming through here, but neither team feeling confident to move into the river just yet.
Tomio's in a weird spot here, actually. This poke from Manui, you can see how Manui and Shochi have changed their target. It is no longer Meech. Meech has the BT. He's trying to actually take away the health bars. The front lines. Tomio's very low.
They can't take this poke. This makes the fight that much harder to go through. Shochi's getting lined up in the angles of the Void Seekers, too.
They're going to have to drop the mid wave first off. So that's the first loss here for DSG. Tomio doing his best to sustain up, but that's going to be pulled by Fear. DSG now opt to play through bot as they have lost that mid wave. So Zazel in a decent position here on the river. And this is good because Fear, they want to play in that pocket. So DSG playing through bot was the right answer is now.
Nature's Grasp comes across, it's blocked. There's the Glacial Prison back, though. Can you get enough damage onto Philip or anybody here? Fight's going the way of DSG, though. You got to be a little bit careful for Fear. Moonlight Vigil connects, but it's going to be Zazel that gets the kill. Young picking up. Oh, Perry goes down, too. Young ends up going down to Manui. So it's the range poke that's actually helping. Fake God goes golden there, thinking he was going to take that Void Seeker. Meech not able to find an angle to maybe defend him there, but Disguised, they use that fight to now get Soul for themselves.
That's big. Cloud Soul now. That's one way to try and get around the poke, getting some bonus move speed. In another situation where Elder could be on the map, but all eyes will be on the Baron. Fear this time around, they did keep their carries on the map, so they can always get a little bit more farm. They didn't have to go for the Void Staffs before the Death Caps. If Death Caps do come in for the Kaisa and the Kog'Maw, that's one last spike that they can try and use to get enough poke down to actually break DSG. If you can see how big Meech is in these fights, and when Disguise are able to actually execute the team fights, Meech is just too much to deal with right now, and I gotta give props to Meech. The guns that he's been holding on to these fights, I think have been really smart, given the problems that he's being challenged with by Fear.
It is a challenging time here in the LCS Challengers League, and it is something where Disguised have fought back tooth and nail from an almost 4,000 deficit in this game number 3 to keep their chances alive. Winner of this best of 5 has their tickets booked to the Riot Games Arena, and Disguised don't want to go down in a sweep to Cincinnati Fear. They're looking at this top tier 2 now to get some more gold.
Inner turret falls, and the important thing for DSG is that they've taken control of this space before that Baron spawns. So it's so difficult for Fear to retake space into Maokai, as see Meech takes away that red buff even too. So that's even more sustained. Manui, he's got no flash. He's gonna have to flash that.
Flash burn. Look at JJ though. He's being the good guy. Support does save his ADC's life. I guess APC at this point. But the siege is there. Disguise's comp has truly come online, and it does reference off the back of Meech and all the front line that they can play through, and kind of the picking apart of Fear's comp itself.
This is the power of Maokai. Maokai's not only so good with poke comps, but also so good against them, because really the saplings and then the ults, you can force, also like just control space against them, and we're seeing that really come up big in the later stages of the game, as that is a free Turo Baron buff, uncontested, going over to Disguised.
And isn't it so telling, Cubby, that this series, our upper bracket finals, has now had 2 games that have gone longer than any other game in our summer playoffs? It is the bread and butter of these 2 teams, not only Disguised Toast, but it is the fact that these 2 teams have been the up-and-comers in this split. The ones that have been doubted rather, but potentially upset a lot of the bigger names, the challenger teams that we have in here. And I think it's been a testament to their growth, not only because of the difference in this split, but also the members they have on either side and the changes that they had.
I'm just going to let the minions hit each other here, Mazel. That's, you can see.
Just
DSG.
to talk about minions, Cubby?
Yeah, they're syncing
Come
up the
on,
wave.
bro.
I don't know, man. That was so broad.
How are you going to talk?
It was so
What?
broad. Where do I go?
All right, anyways. We got Disguise putting a strategy in here, trying to push down this mid lane a little bit more. Shochi going to take a big chunk of damage as well. Not going to be able to put down that poke as heavily. Still got the Baron for another minute and 45 seconds. The actual inhib just going to be the focus right now. Young is pushing down the bot lane too. Might be looking at 2 inhibs at this point.
This is a weird game. Like, so the scaling of poke comps, once you get BT and a 6-sided marksman like that, you just cannot take 5v5 DPS too much. Now Perry, he's going to go down.
Oh, they get the catch
No
out.
blast.
That is it. That is potentially just the game winner here for Disguise. We were asking when we were going to get the wake up from one of our best teams, from 3 experienced championship members of Spring, and it looks like the beast has woken up, as Disguise has one last push to put into fear to make this series an actual one. They take down Manui one last time, and Disguise has rose from the dead and taken a game of fear. And boy, do we have a series.
Tomio moves to 12-1 on the Maokai. Meech moves to 12-2 on the Aphelios, and these 2 champions were absolutely massive for Disguise in the later stages of the game. We teased it, the Maokai, the Braum, the ability to peel for that Aphelios later. It made things so difficult for Fear, who I think did have winning angles in that game, specifically after that first Baron. But once they got the flashes off of Manui and Shochi, we saw DSG push really hard at the gold deficit to punish them while those were down. Too much gold was given over to Disguise. Meech got online, and Disguise took over the game in the back half. As really good play from Meech, especially taking advantage of a team comp that was built around him as he cashed it in.
That's what you love to see. Again, you heard the quote that Zazel said. Meech is that pivotal piece, and he came out clutch with the Aphelios, finally let through. That is it for our game number 3. This does mean we'll have a 4th game underway, and yet another Rally Cry halftime show with Sierra. We'll see you there.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace. Find your drive.